so I've got another question for you. It's around damp. A lot of buildings are damp when you go around and visit them because they haven't been on, you know, there's no heating on for 3 or 4 years. You know, they seem to be really affected by damp. Tell us. You seem to get excited by damp.
I get so excited about damp. So
you need to get out more, Eva.
I need to get out more. I love a bit of damp. Where do I start with damp? So I try and just give advice about damp because so many people with buying historic buildings, not even listed buildings actually, they can't get a mortgage unless they take up a metre worth of plaster and they tank it basically with cement. That is probably the worst thing you can possibly do to your building. Most of the historic buildings, they're solid wall construction, so important that they can breathe externally and internally. What happens when you slap down impermeable render on the inside, it just stops them from breathing, and it means that any water that's soaked up from externally, it has nowhere to go, so it just rises up and then comes out in brickwork internally. So that's just a massive no-no. There's always a reason why buildings are damp, and most of the time it's not because they don't have a damp proof course or the damp proof course has failed. It's often there's a cracked drain, you've got an issue with your downpipe, you know, you've got vegetation in your gutters. So it's the most important thing is finding out the cause, the source of that water, and then treating that. And once you've treated that source of water ingress, you don't have damp. Now, often because of solid walls, they're a lot colder, and we are used to now living in sort of quite warm environments inside. And then and we're not great at ventilation, you know, we're opening windows. So you've got an awful lot of moisture in houses, which when it hits a cold solid wall, it then condenses. And so that's why you often get, you know, mould sometimes in areas, in corners of your rooms. The best way of doing this is ventilation, and also having a really steady sort of a 15-degree heat on all the time. So there's no sort of massive fluxes of temperature. So constant temperature, make sure you ventilate, make sure when you're cooking, you know, you use your fans. It's pretty common sense, but you don't have a damp problem. The worst thing you can do is call whoever to get chemical treatment. Never do that. It's a complete waste of money. This will save you thousands. The chemical treatment does not work.
That's a brilliant tip, Eva. Brilliant. Okay. Oh, I think that's everything.
And another, sorry, I just remembered that if you do have issues with your mortgage company and they say, we won't give you a mortgage unless you, as I said, strip off a metre of your plaster internally and replace it with a tanking impermeable solution, quote, and I can give you that information, but it's a British standard, it's conserving historic buildings, and there are sections there specifically related to historic buildings and how they should not be treated that way.
That's fantastic.
So that should hopefully get them off your back.
What I'll do is I'll pin your Instagram account and your email address below, and you're welcome to get in contact with Eva if you do have any questions about whatever she said. Yeah. Eva, where do you cover in terms of your heritage?
Mainly Derbyshire. Yeah. Mainly Derbyshire, but I could do heritage statements. I sort of desk-based assessments as well. Yeah,
perfect. Well, also all the links to Eva's details and stuff will be below. I just want to say a big thank you from all of us at Property Sisters, and thanks for all your invaluable advice.